Switch in English. So hi everyone. For those not attending the Montreal Canadian game, thanks for coming. So, it may be a reason, but your odds of winning a voucher just went up like crazy. So that's good, right? So, all right. So welcome to session number 6 of our Associate Cloud Engineer Road to Certification journey. So we're wrapping this up today. We'll just go through our basic stuff, the agenda for today. I tested like if they updated like Google Slide with the latest announcement, and there's a bunch of stuff that actually like we did like way better. So this came out just out of like our classic spreadsheet. So yes, I'm gonna do like an intro and recap at the beginning. Then we'll go continue module 5, which was not completed last time, but there was like really just a little bit done on it. So we'll do a 30-minute with Benjamin. At 6:30, we'll do the book Kahoot. Remember, session 3, we had 3 books giveaway, but we said like we had 6 in total, 2 of each. Gonna do round 2. So hopefully the 3 that won are not in the assistants most already, because it's the same book twice. So we'll do a Kahoot there. Then we'll have our food break. Come back with a 10-minute kind of AMA. If there's any question pending from our past 6 sessions that you just I want clarification on something, that's gonna be like a 10-minute open floor, not a problem. And then we'll do the voucher, the Kahoot for the vouchers, which is the Associate Cloud Engineer voucher. So with that voucher, you're able to register for the Google certification at 0 charge. So the ACE, if I'm mistaken, is like 120 US, so that give or take 150 CAD, which is now like $0. So once you're registered, you can set up your date. Beauty of that is that also you can push back the date. But you're registered, you've used your voucher, so when you feel you're ready, you can just go and do it. And then we'll wrap things up. So same as before, code of conduct. If there's anything, just reach out to any one of the organizers. I'll make sure that it's this is a safe zone, so let's keep it like that. But again, if there's anything, just reach out. All right. As before, I just want to thank our partners. Like some of our, Davidson has been kind enough to host us for years. It's our HQ, so thanks so much to them. Google Cloud for content, TELUS content and time and everything. But without those 3, like it would be a bit harder to always find a spot, always have something. So that's good. So a big thank you to our partners and sponsors. All right. So for those who don't know your organizer, I think you know by then. You know them all by then. So like myself, Stacy Verano from TELUS Digital. There's Florian from Davidson. Caesar, stuck in traffic probably. Arunesh just walked in and disappeared. Aaron is right there. And Raphael from Cirque du Soleil. So this is your team. Just to give you an idea, not so long ago, if you just go back pre-COVID, there was 1 person. Now we're 5, which is great. Just give us like more ideas, more bandwidth, and more content for the future. Any ideas that are popping up, the more we are, the better it is. But if you just look at this, like I don't know, like TELUS Digital, Davidson, PwC, Cirque du Soleil, Dialabot, beside having us as organizers, you have like 5 professionals that work like either in cloud infrastructure or like on a day-to-day basis. So, if you have questions about career, like what is this job, like do you know what this job is actually doing? We're here to help. So we're also here to help the community grow. So just like reach out, like when we have our break for lunch or whatever, just like reach out on LinkedIn and say, hey, by the way, I had this question, like, do you know what this job is about? Because I don't get it. So, but, or maybe you're applying for a job and say, well, do you have any insights so that I can say, sure, that's why we're here also. So feel free to reach out. Arunesh, you're looking for a job?
That's how I met Rachel, because I was trying to get into like what's the market about with this particular job. So it was really helpful.
So it's a proof that it works. Good, awesome. So feel free to reach out. So for those who already started, I saw there was a lot of people actually got them. So if there was any new registration today, You may have got an email with called like Google Skills. So basically it gives you access to google.skills where you have your training path. So those credits are good for a year. So you can just play there. So you're able to have your little sandbox, do some GCP stuff, $0, always good. You also have a link to GCP credits, which is like, see it as a, it's not much, but I mean, like if you're testing with the free tier and like cheaper VMs, the $5 in GCP, it's like that, virtual credit card that you just build your stuff on it. Yes?
I got into the skill thing. They said I have a couple of thousand credits, but how does the credit system work? Like, do I lose credits when I apply to a course and then when I'm at zero, then I have to pay?
Well, when you're at zero, basically, it's like, well, let's say you're trying to do a new track of training, and it's like, I don't know, like, hey Caesar. If it's like that, let's say like 25 credits, so like it's like, hey, you can't run. They're not going to charge you. It's just like you can't run any more sessions because you're out of credits, basically. So it's just like the more you do, like you have a big bank of credits, you just go through it, and then when you're at zero, you're at zero. Like either you can yourself top it up, but that's you actually like getting your credit card out and paying for a subscription. This one is like, well, those are given, but when they're empty, they're empty. So, but
And what's the your plan usually for how many credits for how many?
this one, did we have like, was it 50? 50 credits per account? Because I can't use it because I'm managing it, so. Like the link for the skills. Well, GCP credit is $5, so that's $5 of consumption in Google Cloud, but the skills platform, if you go in Google Skills to do the cert track, 50, so it's 50 credits, and some of them are like, some of the labs are like 1, some are 5, so you're able to just pick up and run up until you end up at the like 50 credits. And then, like I said, you have to find either like find somebody who haven't used their credits. Actually, credits are transferable. So if you know someone say I don't want to do it, so can you just transfer your credits to me, please, so I can like do other stuff? So that's if you know someone who haven't like touched it, like you're able to get a transfer. Cool. All right. So I mean, like most of you are probably there, but just in general, we have our we're on the GDG Montreal Discord server. So as not like just for like playing with the associate cloud engineer cohort, but in general, if you want to chat, there's anything, we're announcing it there. So feel free to jump in on our Discord server. So that way, we'll always like post the latest like event and stuff like that also. But of course, like we have our LinkedIn page and all the rest. So feel free to jump in if you're not already on it. And this is 48. So I mean, like everybody that's here is probably already on it, but that was like the direct channel for this cohort for 2026, and also the workbook. But if we're our last session, so technically everybody has those already. All right, so I just want like we went through those, but just like so that we remember, like the entire thing here was we were linked to a journey of a company who was going to transfer their stuff in GCP. We went through the way we organize things, the way billing is in place, the way you do observability, the way that the cloud is elastic, the way that we've talked about the structure, the way it's important, and the way there's a hierarchy on structure. So depending on depending on where you are, does this thing work? Okay, no, not really. Thought it was a pointer on this one. So the way things are working, the structure is really important because you inherit from up top. Also, the way we create projects, things that can change, things that won't, like the project ID, it's always there. The project name can change. We've talked about cloud credits, but I mean, the way that billing is set up, you can set up multiple billing accounts. You have access to Google Cloud through the UI, the API, the CLI. You can Terraform it. You can do a bunch of stuff. And of course, follow the study plan. But that was like our first one. Just high level, going with the basic principle of cloud. We hit session 2, or it's more like, where am I putting my stuff? Like, is it more running on compute? Is it running on GKE? Is it running on GKE supercluster, hypercluster? that can now host 256,000 nodes. Just think about that. You're running a gcloud cluster. If a node is a server, right? 256,000 node cluster. It's insane. So is it running like on App Engine, which is still kind of well, we don't want to go there, but it's still something that's there. We maybe want to go toward more like Cloud Run and go more like serverless. And then based on what we're doing, again, it's like the right tool for the right job. If I'm doing more of a e-commerce architecture, do I go through containers? If I'm doing, if I live in a data center with legacy infrastructure, how do I migrate it to GCP? That's something that's going to bring me to Compute Engine, and then all the data layers itself, it's more like BI or just like data transformation. So you'll need an ETL pipeline. You need everything that goes with it. And at the end, well, based on the type of data you have, either you have like object storage, which is your blob, or bucket. You'll have more data warehousey stuff with BigQuery, and then you'll have like non-relational database that are there to give you, high speed and scale for non-relational data access. So that was the second session. Third session went a bit further. Everything was the symbol superstore, so that was the idea. Again, the idea, we've gone back to our strategy because like we stretch over, so we started and continued our flow about like, hey, well, where are you going? The type of database, based on what I need. Am I going like on BQ data flow? Am I leveraging PubSub for an event-driven architecture? Because like, hey, when a message comes in telling me this, I need an action that comes up and it runs in Cloud Function. So we went through this. We also like went through the load balancer. So it's nice to have an application, but let's say we put it in a classic infrastructure. Say I'm running an application in a VM. You don't want to expose the VM to the internet, right? So you want to put a load balancer. You want it to be able to scale. Same thing if you're doing serverless. If it's in Cloud Run, you want to expose it. Load balancer gives you more than just scale. It gives you security. It's also a web application firewall. It can be regional, can be global, could be internal, which means that if you have, let's say, a classic three-layer system where database is database, but your middle layer actually takes calls internally, and if you want it to scale, you can leverage the same internal load balancer architecture to have it scaled left to right for traffic management without a problem. We've mentioned the Terraform piece. Everything we can do in cloud, in Google Cloud, we can do in Terraform. So most of the time, there's always a little something. There's always a little something that doesn't work. We can do that so we can actually automate everything so that we don't have to repeat ourselves. So we're not going this, but let's like keep the concept of dry. So don't repeat yourself with Terraform. We had session 4, I think that's the one I was sick, right? 4 and 5 or something. It was more on the, like going from, again, like covering all those elements of like serverless, the type of storage. It could be persistent storage. Most of the stuff we do in serverless, either I store my stuff in database, I don't want to have anything in memory. If I die, I spin again, I pick it up. It's not a problem, but if I have a basic object, I'll put them in a bucket. If I actually need a persistent disk, I'll use one of the multiple flavors of persistent disk, which is like I have a compute attached to it. If the compute dies, the storage is always there. Just reattach, pick it up, where I go. And depending on what I need, price will vary. I can have cheap disk. I can have super hyper disk, super fast for maybe like training specific things. So we've mentioned on the bucket side, because that's part of the exam also, you need to know all the tiering on the storage. So like in a bucket, I can have storage that lives and access every day, but maybe I have like storage that's accessed only monthly. So if I do monthly, maybe I need to have like more of a nearline, cold line, or archive type of a storage tier, which will lower your pricing. So that's something that's important and to remember. We've talked about, Benjamin talked about like the VPC side of things. Of course, like everything that's going through Terraform and Elm and all that. But I mean, on the way a structure done is like, well, on the project you can have a VPC. A VPC is your network. Your network can have multiple subnets. A subnet can sit in different regions. The beauty of Google's network is that, within the VPC, you're able to talk to each other without having like napping in place, which is great. Of course, you still have firewall rules and everything, but you have to think about like a NAT gateway to go from network 1 to 2 if it's within the same VPC. On the entire networking, but also we mentioned like Helm charts for deployment, but there are multiple ways of doing this. There's not much on automation during the exam itself, but it's still good to know like what can I do in Terraform, because they may actually ask you a question and kind of trick you on what you can do. But there are specific passages on Terraform that are specific to the exam that you can read with the, let's say, once you do your last prep before the exam. Talk about operation and management. So you can have, let's say we're doing serverless, doing Cloud Run. There's more than one version. I want to go from V1 to V2. I'm able to do the switch without a problem. So I can split traffic from A to B and go from my stable version to the new one I want to push. You can do percentage. So you can do your red-green, your red-black, your blue-green type of deployment. You can do that based also, like you can scale based on compute usage. And for everything that we have cloud logging, which captures everything, which is something that you have for 30 days. Then you can actually export that data, depending on what you need, to something like BigQuery or other things. And of course, there's cloud monitoring. Cloud monitoring will be your dashboard, like the health of your system. I don't know if they're going to cover that in like the latest ones. Cloud monitoring will monitor, say, hey, is my compute healthy? Is multiple things RT? But there's something now called the app hub, the application hub. So if you're deploying an application, it's because you've built something, right? So I have like 5 VM running the front end with a database, and then I have this. This is a hole. That hole is the application. Do I want to monitor the service where maybe the database is shared with somebody else, or I want to monitor the whole, like what's the state of that application, regardless of the infrastructure? That's something that's also available now in Google Cloud, and that may be part of the exam, but I'm not 100%. But just in case it drops, that's something that actually exists. Last session, recap, actually, went heavy on Kubernetes from what I'm seeing, and everything that we can do from data lifecycle to scaling serverless. I've mentioned how do we scale our services based on metrics. Could be the number of traffic we're getting. So how do you actually stretch a network? So how do I slice a /24 into a /21? So that's the stuff that you can do. Also, I've mentioned the log visibility. I'm just looking at, well, most of this is scaling serverless and managing GKE. So we mentioned that in session 4 maybe, or like 3. And one of the things that was the type of question you're going to get asked, and also like we've mentioned that before, but on the GKE side of things, say if you're doing Kubernetes versus like gcloud command versus like more like kubectl commands, kubectl, they're going to ask you those type of questions. Like if I want to deploy a cluster, I'm deploying a cluster, it's infrastructure, so I can do it with the UI, but I can do it with gcloud. If I do a deployment of an application or service within that cluster, I'm going to use kubectl. I'm not going to use gcloud. So now we're talking to the stack that's been deployed. But those are the type of things you have to remember, because of course, if it's not something that you're familiar with, but you're still going to get questioned on, it's something you have to think about. Because those are the small differences that are, yeah, well, they're the same, but is it like gcloud something or like kubectl? So the type of stuff that you need to remember. The same thing on the organization policies, the role inheritance. I don't know how far we went on there. Resource hierarchy, like we've mentioned that before with the folder structure, but there's things like called org policy. So you may actually put a policy in Google Cloud saying, I don't want in a specific folder structure, I don't want any resources being spun outside of Canada. So if somebody's trying to spin a compute in the US, you get an error message because there's an organization policy enforcing something for structure. You can enforce it at large, but you can enforce it also for, let's say, a folder where you have specific projects, because maybe that project lives in a world where you can't actually go in the US. It has to live in Canada. So you can enforce those. So you're going to have those type of questions also. And also we've mentioned the alerting piece of already, but like the alerting piece, be a while. Benjamin mentioned Cloud Run function in the past, but based on a threshold, you may actually want to notify somebody. So if you're hitting 80% or if a service is down or anything else, the alert's going to go out, but actually is able to trigger. I don't know if you're still using PagerDuty or other things, be able to connect, get those alerts out. And lastly, on the access, well, of course, we've mentioned that before, but custom role management. So by default, you'll have those pre-baked roles, but if you actually need somebody who can only list and read buckets items, then you're able to take those two roles and apply it to a custom one. So it's the least privileged way of doing things that are applied here. So in the journey of bringing the symbol like Superstore from like classic infrastructure to a more modern one, like we went through multiple things. Those are all the things that are going to be covered throughout the exam. So you can, of course, when we're done recording, you can review the session 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all on our YouTube channel, so you can go back there. All the
Except the first one.
Huh?
Except the first one.
Yeah, except the first one because Florian. Yeah, that one. Now it's OBS Studio's fault. It's not your fault. All right, okay. Blame technology. Well, we have it, but we don't have sound, so it's a bit rough. But we still have the TLDR in video, so you can go there. But it was more on structure than like more like deep concept like these ones. So I'll invite you to review everything. We'll represent, of course, all the QR codes and everything from the past Notebook LM. So before we hit the last piece with Benjamin, from all the past session or anything, we're doing this twice. So the other one's like more the AMA. But is there any question from past session, or are we good to proceed with the last section of Module 5? I'll take that as a go. So Benjamin, I'll. Yeah, and I'll give you the
best speedrun about Google Cloud.
Yeah. Just wait for when we do Google Next 26 recap in 5 minutes. 266.
Thank you, Stacy.
Cool. So I think you're good. You just need to.
Then just one announcement: if there's anybody who needs to sign in, please let me know. We can sign you in for the voucher thing, I guess. So everybody's in.
Okay, hello guys and girls. I think it's a quick session about identity and access management. It was a missing part of the last session. So today we're going to cover those tricky stuff about authentication and authorization. It's not dedicated to GCP. It's always tricky to deal with those kind of stuff. So we already saw that on the last session, but GCP and the EM part is based on roles. On GCP, we are talking about roles. We saw those kind of roles, the compute admin, the storage admin, all those kind of roles who are predefined roles. So basically dedicated to one GCP services with a kind of predefined permissions. And there is also a way to manage permission, because a role is a set of permission. We can just create custom roles. Custom roles are just, as the naming tells us, a way to group multiple permission inside the roles. So basically, if you have a need for some groups to be able to get, list, start, and stop compute instance, you can create a role with these kind of permissions, because you can see that compute admin, for example, has, I don't know how many permission is compute admin, maybe 2,000 permission, but if your need is just to do this kind of action, and you don't have the predefined role who fits with your least privilege, you can do that. So basically, you can create these custom roles. There is a unique ID for this role, and you can just do some EAM binding for your instance operator role, for example, inside your project, at the folder level, or at the organization level. So this is a great way to manage really carefully the least privilege. It's really hard to maintain those kind of roles because the needs are changing every day when you are doing some cloud management. But yes, this is a good way to manage the least privilege. Your security team will be very grateful if you are doing some custom roles. So maybe I can show you inside the console how we can create a custom role.
Then I have a question for you.
Yeah, for sure.
We have get, list, and then start, right? So when can I give a start permission? Because I cannot start without listing it. So when can I just give start and then I can automatically get and list?
Yes, not automatically. You need to declare it inside your roles.
So if I just do start, then it's not gonna work.
Yes, 4 or 3 permission denied. You don't have this permission. If you need it, you need to create it with and add it to your custom role. Because when you are creating a custom role,
So basically to start, I need all those 3: get, list, and start.
it depends.
Depends.
If you are inside the console, the web console, you need to have the get and list to see finally the instances inside your project. But if you are doing gcloud compute instances, stop your instance ID, patati patata, you don't have to you don't need the get and the list permission, for example. So it depends how the way you are managing it inside your web console with gcloud command, for example. Terraform, it's totally different. You need the get and the list because this is the way Terraform is managing the API call inside GCP. But gcloud, it's not needed. So, okay. So basically, when you are creating a custom role, you give him a title, you can create, there is an ID, and you can also manage the release management of your custom role. You can tell it, okay, this custom role is in role launch alpha, beta, or maybe GA, and you can disable it. And after that, you can just add some permissions, okay? So you can see that GCP has a lot of permissions. And here you can just add some predefined role and group them. For example, I need vertex, the famous vertex. Okay, this one, no, this one. Okay, if I'm going to click it, I'm going to see the permission inside this predefined role. I can just add them to my custom role, and maybe this role is, the custom role needs some storage permission. Compute storage permission, I'm going to take it. And yes, I can basically do what I need and really think about my security management at the permission level. I'm repeating myself, it's really hard to maintain those kind of roles because the need in your company is changing. But yes, if you have some question about the least privilege and the role management inside GCP, just remind that the best practice is custom role. Don't use basic roles. There is 4 basic roles: editor, viewer, owner. There is 3 basic roles: editor, owner, and viewer. I think this is the 3 basic roles. But definitely not to use in production. Okay?
Benjamin, just to answer your question, there's 15,000 permissions in total.
Cool.
So you have to know them by heart. And overall, like in terms of role, it goes like to 2,000. So 2,000 roles for 15,000 permissions.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, this is not an easy task to manage those kind of stuff. And GCP, AWS, Azure. Permission denied 4 or 3 HTTP is your best friend. Yeah.
Forgot to ask about the exam. We have access to like a console or something to test it out, or like something to like like check yourself if we don't know the information by heart, or asking us some things. Like, do we have access to?
Yeah, there is a functionality, a feature inside GCP, and you can test your policy. So I don't say, I think it's your question, just to validate that is my question rules for this group, this user is fitting my needs. That was your question finally?
Just in general, like during the exam, is it like a theoretical exam, or are we allowed to like type in some code inside the console, or are we allowed to go into the?
It's a theoretical exam. It's just a multiple question. You have a question and multiple choice. You have to pick one of them.
But like, can we like
No.
use the console?
No.
Just
No.
Yeah.
You just, during the exam, you have one browser with the exam, and you don't have access to any kind of external resources. Yeah, you don't have those kind of.
Yes, so you
Yeah, sorry.
For example, because there are a lot of roles, but the majority of the roles has to be with verbs or with actions. So list, edit, etc. So the kind of questions that you will be receiving is just to know a high level what
Yeah.
roles will fit best in a question. But don't think that it will go into granularity.
They are not going to trick you at the permission level. You don't have any question. Yeah, you have the storage admin. Does this permission is a part of this role? You don't have those kind of questions. And the predefined roles are pretty cool on their naming convention. You know as well that yes, okay, storage admin. I can admin the storage object creator. Basically, I can create some object inside the storage.
Exam practice or simulations that we can do?
There is 2 sections of Kahoot during this session, so we're going to test your knowledge. And we can share some.
At the end, don't know if you remember, there is test exams on the internet for GCP.
Yeah.
It's around 20 questions. 20 questions?
Yeah.
And those questions are great questions that you could find
Yeah.
in the exam, so maybe we can do that.
Yeah, for sure. And I can share some external resources with a free exam question that you can find during this exam for all your certification. But yes, sorry, it was not your question, but this feature is pretty cool because where you're handling with who can access those kind of stuff inside my project, because he's a member of this group, has those kind of roles, stuff like that. This is a great feature of the policy analyzer and the policy troubleshooter. You don't have any question about those services inside for your ACE exam. Cool. So yes, this is the courses that you need to enroll to just be able to know well the EM section inside GCP. And we saw that at the last session, but yes, creating a service account is the best solution to just handle the way that your different services can interact each other. Using service account in EM policy with minimum permission, creating a custom role, for example. Yes, when I'm creating a Cloud Run web application that needs to just get some object inside the bucket, I created a custom service account that I put inside my Cloud Run, and I give him the right permission to just be able to grab the object at the resource level. You can just put those kind of permission really at the level of your services. Managing service account impersonation. This is a good way to handle your development and the way that you are interacting with GCP. When you are creating a service account, we saw that together last time, but yes, the first question is, okay, you need a service account. What are the permissions and the roles the service account needs? And the second question on the web console was, who can manage the service account? Managing the service account is to do a service account impersonation. So basically, me, with a gcloud command, as Benjamin, I can impersonate all my API call with the set of permission of this service account. So this is pretty cool when you are developing some stuff on your local machine and you want to simulate the way that the service is handling the permission with a service account. And yes, we can create and manage a short-lived service account credential. So we can create some kind of certificate or JSON service account credential that you can put inside your code. This is not the best practice in terms of security, but sometimes you need to create those kind of external files that can handle the authentication for you. So quick question for you guys. So which of these scenarios below is an example of situation where you should use a service account? Someone want to? Yep.
How about
The D? Individual GKE pods?
usually it's good practice to have individual service accounts for different services on Kubernetes.
Someone? Let's go for D. Yeah. Yes, inside GKE, I think we saw that during maybe the session 4 or 3, I can't remember, but yes. This is the way Kubernetes is handling authentication. I'm talking about Kubernetes, not especially GKE. And yes, GKE, you can just do a magic stuff to just use the Kubernetes service account to act as a Google service account to just authenticate the pod to reach the right GCP services. But yes, cool. So create a service account. The gcloud command is pretty straightforward. gcloud EM service account create my service account. I can assign policy with the gcloud project add EM policy with the flag the name of the service account and specify the role that you want to put for this service account. And when you're creating a gcloud instance, for example, yes, you have the famous flag to just pinpoint the service account that you have just created before to just have the best practice in place, your Google Compute instance as a custom service account with a custom role dedicated to his purpose. Someone? The D? Service account? Yeah. This is the, from my point of view, this is not the recommended way, but we don't have the choices. This is an external system, this is an external services.
No, it's a workload identity federation to kind of set up connection between services, right?
Workload identity federation.
Keyless authentication.
Yeah, we can put that in place, but this is the mechanisms that is used inside gkey to make this famous magical stuff between a Kubernetes service account and a Google service account. But for those kind of use case, yes, we don't have the choice. The mobile application is not a GCP services. You don't have the way to just put just the email of your service account inside your mobile to just be able to handle the authentication. No, you need to create a service account, give him the right roles, and create a JSON service account key. Just, I show you the famous service account key explanation. But for example, if I'm go to...
Service account key should be stored in a secret manager.
Oh yeah. Don't commit those kind of information inside your GitHub repository because this is basically the critical information. It's like an AWS key. Robots are just scanning GitHub all the day to just find AWS key, to just create some compute engine inside the cloud and just do the bit mining famous stuff. So, no.
We did a test in the past of how long it takes. We actually voluntarily dropped the public key in a bucket that's public.
Yeah.
And under 2 minutes, it was hijacked.
Yeah.
And somebody created a project and started consuming stuff.
AWS is pretty fast about that. If you are using GitHub, for example, and you put an AWS key inside your GitHub repository, 10 minutes, maybe 2 minutes after, you have an email with a big warning. Hey, dude, you are doing the wrong way of managing your secret information. And GCP is pretty the same way. So basically, I have a dedicated service account to just manage my GitHub action because my code is inside GitHub, and I'm not using Cloud Build with the CI/CD system services that GCP is providing us. I'm using GitHub Action. I don't have a service account key. We can do a workload identity federation with some tricky stuff about managing the way that we are handling. Exactly, with OIDC stuff and stuff like that. But I can just go there and create a key, JSON or P12 format. And yes, I'm not going to share that on YouTube finally, but yes, this information is very confidential because this is a way to handle authentication for my mobile web application, for example, to just be able to push some message, for example, inside PubSub. So yes, and typically inside an organization, this action is totally forbidden. We have some organization policy to just disable the fact that I can do those kind of action because this is really, really bad to handle those kind of mechanisms in terms of authentication. And yes, for sure, if those kind of files are stored inside a vault or secret manager inside GCP. This is a critical information.
There is a question. Benjamin, there is a question.
Yeah.
Would it be possible instead of service account key OAuth OIDC for service accounts? Or is that not available?
To do what?
OIDC with OAuth.
Yes, you can do that. But yes, you can do that. I'm not going to deep dive inside this section because it's really tricky, but yes, we can do that, especially for GitHub. You know, with GitHub, we can do a workload identity federation pool, and I'm going to handle the OIDC attribution and assessment to be able to manage a way that GitHub is authenticating in the runners finally inside my GCP project. But there is no JSON service account key, just based on OIDC and assessment attribute object finally. It's not a big deal, but yes, it's a little.
Like if I saw OAuth and OIDC for B, for example, I would have chosen B instead of D, because at least it's like safer, quote unquote. Having a secret account key, you have to rotate and things like that.
Exactly. API key is, you have to manage it as you told us. You need to rotate, stuff like that. It's not tricky, but yes, there is some management behind the hood. So yes, there is a bunch of type of authentication keys. You can generate an API key to access public data. We can do some auth to client to access private and user data. Service account, definitely the best way to manage your authentication inside your GCP organization between GCP services. And yes, if you don't have the choice, make a service account key. But yes, avoid that kind of stuff. Machine-to-machine communication inside GCP. Everybody is okay with the C? Yeah, definitely. Machine-to-machine, service-to-service. Compute engine with a dedicated service account, object creator at the storage level. Someone? This one is. I don't like those type of questions. Arunesh, an ID? I'm gonna call a friend. Okay, honestly, I don't have the answer myself. Okay, temporary credential. I'm not sure about, honestly, this question is fucked up. Both resources are internal to the Google Cloud environment. So what type of credential should you use? Okay, temporary credential, what does it mean? I don't know. Maybe I have some explanation here.
It's one of those, a good example for the exam when you don't know, where basically you go by elimination.
Okay.
You end up with one say, yeah, okay, like I'm not sure what's going to be that. So like, yeah, it's like you have an application, service API, technically say, well, an API key could do the trick, but okay, locally stored keys, that's a big no-no. User confidential, say user is not an application, so A and B are out. Then you're stuck with C and D. But then say, what would Google want me to do with best practices?
Definitely, I think with eliminating the bad answer, it's the D. And the explanation on the slide was, okay, temporary credentials are generated beyond the hood via service account. Because when you are using service account, you have a token, but this token is refreshed. I don't know the time during the expiration for each token, but regularly this token is refreshed. So yes, this is a temporary credential, but behind this temporary credential, this is a service account also. Yes?
Why is API keys a bad answer?
Because when you are communicating inside, when two services inside GCP are communicating together, you don't have to create an API key. Service account and EAM roles are the best practice to handle the authentication and authorization mechanisms without managing any kind of credential like an API key. This is the way the cloud, not especially GCP, is handling authentication and authorization between different kind of services inside GCP or Azure or AWS. If you can avoid the API keys, avoid them. Because you need to store them securely, you need to rotate them. And finally, inside GCP, between one front-end services on Cloud Run and your Cloud SQL instance running your database, you can just create a service account for your Cloud Run, give the role Cloud SQL instance user, and yes, Cloud Run can communicate with the Cloud SQL instance. No password, no API key, straightforward, very secure. Cool. Oh, that's the end. Cool. Some question about service account. I can share the console if you want me to deep dive a little bit.
Could we try copy this question into that ChatGPT? Ask
This one? Yeah.
GPT-2C.
I would say Gemini.
Maybe the
Same like that.
Okay. Oh.
I already knows a lot of these same
Yeah.
GCP answers.
Just ask.
Claude.
Okay.
Anthropic.
Oh. Oh.
No other answer.
Come on.
Screenshot.
You're asking me to work a lot, guys, tonight.
Service account.
Damn. With the right answer, it's easy for Gemini. Yeah.
Ouais. The Y, A, B, C, D. But I have the Y on each one, the like lower, so that's a
Gemini is good.
sounds grok.
So service account creates a temporary credential.
Yeah.
That was like.
That's the way he's handling.
About this.
Because when a GCP services, when your Cloud Run services with a service account is trying to write an object inside a bucket, it's passing through the API EAM. It's going before handling the communication with storage.googleapi.com, it's passing through em.googleapi.com. And when it's passing through em.googleapi.com is, yeah, I want to try to create an object inside these GCP services. And EAM acts as a guardrail. Okay, I'm going to check if your token is okay with the right permission to handle those kind of action on these target resources. Okay, you can do that. Bingo. If you don't have the right permission, you got an HTTP 403 permission denied. The famous permission denied. And yes, when you are doing some cloud, this is your best friend, permission denied. Every day. But yes, this is a good way to understand the EAM permission and roles. That's okay for you guys? Another question to Gemini? No, that's cool. I can just copy paste all your questions finally. That's okay. You want me to show you some other stuff inside GCP just before the lunch, or maybe we can
we're
just.
gonna do the book, Kahoot.
Oh, yeah, Kahoot.
At lunch.
Cool. Vas-y. Tiens. Tu veux le petit truc comme ça là? Cool. Je t'en prie.
Ah oui. Can scan to play.
Yeah, so just scan the QR code so you can register. So a reminder for those didn't want books, we have a Google Cloud for developers. Look, we have a GitHub Foundation certification, so if you actually do code, you need to put it somewhere. So that's a good place. And the last one, something we never talk about enough, is, and it's a good mix with what Benjamin was talking about, is securing continuous delivery on Google Cloud. So how you do your pipelining. So if you push code, how you secure it. So those 3 books are going to be part of the Kahoot. You just need to scan the QR code, put your name, and we'll start the questions. And whoever answers best, fastest, we'll have first pick. Second pick, third one. Well, you know, you start.
So yeah, we have 2 Kahoots tonight. So
yes,
the first
we have
one is
for the vouchers after after lunch, and then we'll also look at those like real, let's say real exam questions that are public on the Google Cloud website. But we can, if we have the time, we can actually just have a look, everybody. And if not, we'll just drop the link straight up into the Discord channel, so that way you'll be able to hit it. So super simple.
Perfect. By the way, this one is the easy one. The next one for the vouchers is a bit more complicated.
I hope you won.
Then Avinesh, you can play. You can. Organizers can play.
And with them playing.
You playing? Alright.
All good? Everybody's good?
Yeah.
Need more time?
Yes.
Good? Okay. Let's start. So you need to answer fast too, huh? It counts. Okay. So, which level in the Google Cloud resource hierarchy is directly above projects? Is it folders, resources, billing account, or organization? Ah, it's folders.
Good.
All right. Derek is first. Which storage class is best for data accessed less than once a year to minimize cost? Is there nearline, standard, code line, or archive? Please enjoy the GIF I've put. Archive. All right. Derek is still first. What is the lowest level basic IAM role that gives permissions to change resource states? Owner, editor, viewer, or administrator? The lowest level. Good. It's editor. Derek is on fire. Who's Derek? Hey! How many billing accounts can a single Google Cloud project be linked to at one time? 2, 1, unlimited, or 5? 1 it is. Oh, still direct, but F is coming. Okay. Which service is a managed orchestration system for deploying containerized applications? This you should know. Hey, perfect. Ben, you're good. Still Derek? All right. Which compute option scales to 0 when there is no incoming traffic? Is it Compute Engine, App Engine, Cloud Run, or GKE Standard? Je me suis amusée. It's Cloud Run, yes. Okay. Let's see if the podium will change. Which VPC type is automatically created with one subnet per region by default? Is it peered VPC, auto mode network, shared VPC, or custom mode network? Auto mode network. Okay, the podium is still intact. Which tool is used to collect and view infrastructure metrics like VM, CPU usage? Cloud logging, cloud monitoring, cloud trace, or cloud profiler? Good, cloud monitoring. Podium stays the same. What is the primary command line tool used to interact with Google Cloud resources? I hope you know this one. Is it BQ, GSUtil, gcloud, or kubectl, kubecloud? I don't know how to say it. Kubectl, okay. gcloud. All right, then the last one. Which Google Cloud project attribute can be modified after the project is created? Is it the project category, project name, project ID, or project number? Yes. All right, who's first? So the third one is Ashsenura, Mike, and surprise, Derek. All right, Derek, you pick which one you want, and.
I had one last time. Can I get another one? Or
Yeah, no, you need to pick the same one twice. Engineer. All right. So first, do I have to put? Oh God. Okay. Yeah. You want to just fill everything. Now we know your email. Customer. Send me offers. No. All right. So for the exam, if you actually want to see like the real type of question, like this is a great example. So your organization plans to migrate its financial transaction data to Google Cloud. Auditors need to view the data and run reports in BigQuery, but they are not allowed to modify the data. So they're dropping in through the questions, right? Like what type of data it is, the service, the permission itself. So you want to apply principle of least privileges, which is, what Benjamin mentioned multiple times. So and follow Google recommended practices. Like what should you do? So assign role BigQuery data viewer to the individual auditors. Create a group for auditors and assign them the role viewer to them. Create a group for auditors and assign the role BigQuery data viewer to them, or assign custom role to each auditor that allows view-only access to BigQuery. So with everything that we've talked about least privileges. At one point, I think maybe at the beginning, I've mentioned even if you have one person, you put it in a group and you put the IAM permission to that group. So assigning to each of the individual, let's say, so we're not going there, right? So that's the idea. So creating a group, all right, that's good. We're following best practices, but do we create a group with role viewer, which is very broad, or do we actually want to do, which is you want to give them access to view the data and run reports, but they're not allowed to modify the data. So do we go with a broader viewer role, or do we actually, what does BigQuery data viewer actually does? So of course we can go by elimination, but this one, the elimination was that we know we weren't gonna go with individual, we need to go with groups. And then from there, so do we go with a broader role or a specific one, which is BigQuery data viewer? So this one, the only thing is that it's like the exam. You say, hey, let's go with C, and we'll see at the and we'll see. All right. So let's go with this one, for example. So that's question number 2. You're managing your company's first Google Cloud project. Project lead developers and internal testers will participate in the project, which includes sensitive information. So you need to ensure that only specific members of the development team can access sensitive information. You want to assign the appropriate IAM roles that also require the least amount of maintenance. So if you do basic role to each users, okay, but we're back to you should assign stuff to group and not people. Create a group and do basic role for each group. So I would have a group of lead developers, so per roles that I need. But again, leveraging like basic role. Or do I want to create a group, which is still great, but use like custom roles to each group? It was just mentioned, require the least amount of maintenance. If I do custom stuff, I have to maintain it. So that's again, you go ahead and say, okay, the last one, create groups, we're still good, and assign an IAM predefined role to each group as required, including those who should have access to sensitive data. So assign users to group. So I create a group, I create the predefined roles, which are not custom, and I put them there, and then I assign the users to each group. So all the developers and everything said, okay, so that's not so bad as an answer. So are we okay? Let's say let's go with D. We'll go fast so that way we can actually see if we suck or not. So question 3, all right. You're responsible for monitoring all the configuration changes in your cloud storage and file store resources in real time. Recap, cloud storage is our bucket. File store is like an NAS, network attached storage. So if you want an NFS mount point, this is a service you would actually use in GCP. So for each change, you need to invoke a security script that will verify compliance of a change in near real time. You want to accomplish this with minimal setup. So, okay, so create a log string, export the logs in BigQuery, modify security script to read. So that's just, again, just as a trick. As you start, you say, okay, well, you want to evolve a script to verify with compliance and change in near real time. So, okay, well, is there a way, it seems a bit complicated on the first one with a cloud scheduler, and then a cloud scheduler. Like, why would I use cloud scheduler? You're telling me near real time. Near real time equals event driven equals, either a pop-up trigger or a trigger that will trigger the script. So a scheduler is a run every 5 minutes. It's too late, you gotta act. So that's no good. So the first one we can disappear. Use cloud storage and Firestore triggers to invoke the security script hosted in Cloud Run function. Nah, you want to put it in GKE, that's right. So use a Python script to get the audit logs from Cloud Logging, analyze them, and invoke the security script, or redirect your data changing queries to an App Engine application. Yeah, that's good. That performs all the resources changes and calls security script for the application. So I would be near real time with a trigger,
You must manage GCP solution.
Yeah. So
Reinvent the wheel.
exactly. So we would fall within the trigger and function piece. So again, it's knowing your service, but again, that quick path to deduction, they're giving you hints. So if I'm telling you like manage something or like near real time, say, okay, like there's no scheduler. It's not a schedule, it's something. So it's not cheating, it's just like making sure you understand the questions. Yeah, okay, I know, like if I have to spend time arguing with myself on 2 questions instead of 4, I already like move 50% of the needle. So your application needs to process a significant rate of transaction. The rate of transaction exceeds the processing capabilities of a single VM. You want to spread transaction across multiple servers in a MIG, Managed Instance Group, in real time in the most cost-effective manner. Which Google Cloud product should the transaction be sent to? Bigtable, PubSub, Cloud SQL, BigQuery. What do you think? So I need to process a lot of transaction. It's not going to scale in a single VM. But it has to be spread across multiple servers in a MIG. So, which cloud product should the transaction be cloud 2? What service actually? Then we're back in a event-driven architecture. So if I have multiple queries that the VM can't handle, but I want to put it in a MIG, again, a MIG managed instance group where I have a template for a specific compute size, and then it's just going to scale up. But I need a trigger. But the trigger, again, in a event-driven, our good friend PubSub is always a good pick, because Bigtable, database, NoSQL, pQuery, or Cloud SQL, yeah, okay, that's just storing data. It's not actually something where I can do messaging, and that's where PubSub would come into play.
Not necessary to Google Cloud. If you know some programmation stuff and system design, this is a basic question. If you can handle with your compute engine or single your managed instance group multitude of transactions, yes, you put some queuing services between your services and just be able to decompose your transaction management.
J'essaie d'être mindful de... Je les ferai pas toutes parce qu'on finira.
PubSub, ActiveMQ,
Ouais.
Kafka, stuff like
C'est pour leur donner une idée. Cool. So yeah, just looking at the time and be mindful that we have like the real fun questions are the one with a prize. We'll share the link to this. I mean, like, this is public. You'll have the same question, but just let's go with this one. Your team needs to directly connect your on-premise servers to several VMs inside a VPC in Google Cloud. So you want to set up a fast and secure network connection with minimal maintenance and cost. What should you do? Set up a dedicated interconnect, let's say from your office to Google Cloud. Set up a cloud VPN. Assign a public IP address to each VM and assign a strong password to each one, or start compute engine, and install OpenVPN and create a direct tunnel for each on-premise server. So of course, in this case, like, it would be like Cloud VPN if you want minimal maintenance and cost. Dedicated interconnect is what it is. Like, it's a pipe between your data center and Google's. It may cost you like $2 to $4 grand a month. That's not minimal cost. Cloud VPN is a service. You just trigger it. You just need to configure your endpoint within your data center of your enterprise. Then you set it up. You have like 3 gig roughly per tunnel. You're okay. You don't need 10 gig bandwidth. So in this case, Cloud VPN would be the one doing the trick. So like I said, to be mindful of the time, because we said like 10 minutes for the AMA part, and we have the Kahoot. We'll post the link to this. There's roughly 20 questions. But we wanted to show you, I mentioned that, like the type of question and the way they're structured. So that way you know what's going on and what you should expect. Again, like, this is online, so part of your prep, you would have visited this already. But to give you an idea, now we're talking storage. So you need to include like the following policies. You want to archive data older than 1 year, delete data older than 5, use standard cloud storage for everything. So how do we set this up? You set up object lifecycle management policies, you run a script. You never run a script. You never run a script. You never run a script to set up policies that are actually baked inside the service. You can set up the default storage class for 3 buckets named. No, you don't. You don't put classes. Classes is metadata. So metadata is something that you'll assign with actually the own metadata of the objects. So if we have to archive everything that's older than 1 year, everything is lifecycle management policies. So you can send those up where you say everything that's older than a year, drop it in archive. Everything that's older than 5 years, delete it. And everything else by default, it's storage, it's standard, which is like, it's something we access on a monthly basis. So if you put it in archive, it's cheaper. But if you access it every month, every time you have to pull it up, it's way more expensive. So that's why you want to actually use this. And I don't know if it's going to be part of the question. It's going to be the last one we do before we go back to the Kahoot. There is now, when you create a bucket, something called AutoClass. So AutoClass basically looks at what's going on with your objects and will set them up in the right tier based on activity. So if you're not sure where your data should sit in terms of like retention policies, that's kind of good way to maybe get you going, and then maybe when you get a clearer picture, so okay, like I have a picture of 90% of what's happening. Let's actually set up my own policies. And although class is cool, but at the same time, it's enforcing you some of the stuff that maybe you don't need. So Raphael, I'll pass it up to you for the next Kahoot.
For the vouchers.
The vouchers, yes. So the idea, so of course we'll send you the vouchers directly. We're not gonna, hey, here's the vouchers, take a picture. Especially for you. I'm not trusting you this. So we'll contact you directly. We'll just make sure we get all the names and we have the emails, make sure we're good. So yeah, let's get going. So as before, so yeah, you can. That's what we, when we say like Google is a sponsor, that's one of the things. Like we reached out to the GDG management team and say, by the way, we're doing a training series. Can you actually just pitch in with something? Of course, there's the content we inspire yourself from, but the vouchers are coming straight from Google Developer Group North America, and they said, yeah, there you go. So we have them all, and that's the way Google contributes to our community. It's a great way to either pay for food or and vouchers.
Cool. So ready to start?
We have everybody.
Good.
Okay.
So same principle, but in the end there's a twist. All right. To serve US users without ACL or location flag, which CLI command is correct? I won't say them. Nice. Oui, vas-y. C'est bon. Which flag is required in the CLI to enable automatic failover for Cloud SQL instance? Availability type, failover, secondary zone, or replica type? Not bad, not bad. Only 3 people though, so let's see. Mike is first. Mike wants the voucher. Emilien and F. What is the declarative way to initialize and update Kubernetes objects?
Like this, exactly. Just like have your cat on your keyboard. Delete that stuff.
Do you want to comment on that, Ben?
No.
Or no?
This is the right answer.
All right. Mike is still first. Emilien is still same podium. What should you do if deleting a scheduled snapshot returns an error? Restore the snapshot, stop the VM, detach the snapshot schedule first, delete the disk. Cool. Nice. Oh, it's changing. Which trigger event parameter runs a function when a file upload to a bucket finishes? Object change, Google storage object create, Google storage object finalize, or pub sub publish? All right. Mike, still first. You know them by heart, or? All right, to expand a /24 subnet to accommodate 2,000 new users, which prefix length is required? /21. Which Terraform command downloads required providers and initialize the state file? Yes. Ah, you were not fast enough. If a user has folder viewer and folder and project editor roles, what is their effective access? Owner, viewer, browser, or editor? Yes, editor. Let's see. Okay, it's changing. Emilien is first now. An alert policy for CPU usage more than 60% for 5 minutes required which precise threshold? Good. All right. What is the best practice for granting monitor permissions to a new team member? Share your password, grant permissions locally, add to a Google group with the specific role. Assign. All right.
No grants? What happened? What happened?
Okay. Emilia is still first. Which command provides a detailed description of an existing compute engine snapshot? I won't tell them. Oh, this one. Je pensais que c'était la bleue. Oh merde, il y a deux bonnes. C'était un test. Mon copier-coller. Oups. Excusez-moi pour ça. Ça n'a pas trop changé le podium par contre. Which compute feature manages SS... C'était pas la bonne réponse? Ok. Via IAM roles instead of manual metadata. Only one person.
This is our champion.
It's Derek.
Derek, wake up.
Okay, which GKE object is used to expose logic via a specific endpoint you define? Ingress, deployment, pod service. Je sais pas si vous voulez commenter là-dessus.
Yeah. No, that's perfect.
No?
Someone has some question about the quiz. Don't hesitate, but yes, definitely this is a service.
Oh, it moves. Okay, which condition is a lifecycle rule triggers? In a lifecycle rule triggers an action based on a specific calendar date. Create before age matches storage class is live. Create before. Okay, Derek is on fire. Okay, this is the last one in this type of format, you'll see. Which storage class is optimal for monthly access, such as end of the month reporting? Good. Ok. Maintenant, on va spice things up. The next session is double the points, so it should move the podium. And it's faster, it's only 5 seconds, and it's true or false. Be fast. True or false? Standard storage has 30-day minimum storage duration policy. Oh, 50-50, huh? Changes, huh? True or false? Service project admins in a shared VPC can manage host VPC firewalls. Okay. Celle-là. Ah, Mike is back. A GKE ingress object requires the neg notation for internal balancing. All right. Still Mike. Snapshots are incremental, so the first one always takes the most time. Good. Should put a little music. Ouais. Cloud run functions are stateful and persist data between triggers. Okay, the podium doesn't change that much. Huh? I thought it was gonna be. Local SSDs are bootable and provide data redundancy across multiple zones. Still Mike. The BigQuery data transfer service is a free tool for loading data into BigQuery. It's true. App Engine flexible instances can scale down to 0 when they receive no traffic. It's false. It changed a bit. A little bit. Last two questions for the vouchers. A VPC network is a global resource, but its subnets are regional resources. Okay, good. Almost everybody. Who was the fastest? Still the same. Last one. A Terraform state file stores the true record of your cloud infrastructure. Okay. Let's see who's getting the vouchers. Mike? Mike gets everything. Oh, is it you, Arunesh?
Oh, that's got a second? Oh,
Yeah.
like I was on the
Focus.
Nice.
Okay, fourth is Emilien.
The
Still.
fourth one.
Emilien.
Emily.
Who's focus?
Cool.
Congrats.
Everyone, just everybody, one, we just want to make sure that we have your email properly. So we'll send you each one of you will get an email with the voucher information, the entire document, then a process you need to fill. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna wrap it up so you can go watch the game. All right. So I've mentioned that before, but like if you want to go through everything we went through, like since module 1, there were like notebook LM quizzes to help you go through all of those. The same way we have the link that we will share for like the Google practice, like the 20 questions. We'll put it in there. So that's module 1 for anybody who wants to take a picture. I saw that in the back. We have module 2, so keep your camera up. There's like 5 of those. So I want to take it, and we'll reshare probably in like if you're in the Discord also, like we put everything in there. So module 2, module 3. All right. A minute. Make sure. All right. Cool. Module 4. Sorry? Yes. And module, if we're good, that's 4. Just want to make sure everybody's good. I'm going to do module 5, which is our last one. So those are public notebooks, so they don't cost anything. It's just a random quiz, so you'll have like between like 20 to 30 questions that were generated based on the material that we're going through, just leveraging Notebook LM. So feel free to use that the same way that whatever material you find to prep yourself on the Associate Cloud Engineer exam, you can either feed to Notebook LM and say create a quiz, or feed it into Gemini and then say like with all of this, like generate something. So. And just start quizzing yourself, or like I've mentioned during the break. In the past, I actually used like AI Studio. So I created myself an app who was like generating random questions. So it feels more like a Kahoot than actually just answering stuff. And when I'm wrong, explain to me why I'm wrong and why this answer is right, but on the fly instead of waiting at the end. So a good way to also like play with the platform. From everything that Benjamin did in the past, all the repo, that the code that when he did demos, this is still the same URL. So if you want to hit the repo that he got, so you can go there and take the code, fork it, star it, and just play with it. And yeah, so just make sure, again, thank you for coming to this series. Of course, you can. That's hitting the same nail, but yeah, you can join us on Discord. It's hosted by the GDG Montreal server. We have a channel with GDG Cloud Montreal in it, a public one, so you're able to join us there. For anything else, if you want to follow upcoming events or stuff like that, of course, they're going to be in Discord. We have a LinkedIn page just for GDG Cloud Montreal, so any of our new event or posts are going to be there. So if you just want to follow us, feel free. And also we have a YouTube channel, so everything that was recorded, except the first one, right, and Florian? Just like it's easy, man. So yeah, so they're all there, and all like past event also. So everything we've recorded so far is there. So from past years, from COVID times, everything is there, so you'll be able to go back and watch it. If you actually, it's not just like this is a community event. And some people ask in the past, are you the only one talking? Well, we are when no one comes up with, hey, I'm doing this with Google and I would love to present it to the community. Cool. This is our you first and us after thing, right? So you can reach us. If you want to DM us on LinkedIn, feel free, Discord, or we have a form you can fill also. So if you actually just want to fill that up, if you want to talk, if you want to do even if it's a quick demo, say, hey, I did this and I just want to talk about it, and maybe it's 20 minutes, it's fine. It doesn't have to be 40 minutes or anything. We just want to actually give you the chance to show what you're doing with Google Cloud so everybody can learn from it. So yeah, so some of us were in Vegas last week. Some of us are still jet lagged from last week. I'm one of them. So Google Cloud Next was last week in Vegas. It's the big Google Cloud event every year. So a bunch of stuff was announced. I think in total it was 266 announcements were there. So we will come up with a massive either Notebook LM or something drop with the TLDR of everything. But if you actually want the list, you can scan the QR code. It's going to bring to the Google Cloud blog post. Then you'll have all those GKE hypercluster and all this Axiom VM stuff, the V8 TNI TPUs for training and inference, all the cool stuff that was announced. You can go through the QR code and you'll get it. And if I'm not mistaken, again, thank you everyone for.
Do you want to say the surprise or?
Oh, for the yeah. So.
I'm very disappointed. Yeah.
Well, you cheated again, man.
I didn't win, so I'm. So
You did what? Yeah. So actually, again, well, big thank you for everybody that's coming. But the actual surprise is that because Florian and Arunesh were cheating in the thing. No, I mean, is that everybody's getting a voucher. Everybody. So that way we'll contact you all. I think we've checked in everybody and we have everybody in the list. So we'll be able to. Yeah. Yeah, if everybody, people that were scanned their QR code, if everybody has been scanned, then we have your contact information.
How much is the certification usually? 6 voucher de combien?
Yeah, so like if you were to go on your own and do the certification, it's 120 US value, so basically 150 CAD that's been given, and it's good until March of 2027. So if you want to prep yourself a bit better, you have the time. So, and no vouchers for you. So for our next event, we'll probably be back. We're taking a break because we've been doing like a super long series. We're taking a small break. Google I/O also is happening in May, which is more like a developer-centric event in California. Most of the team is going to be there, bring back some of the stuff. So usually every year we have a Google I/O Extended, which is like a post-I/O event we do in Montreal with the Flutter team, GDG Montreal also. So we'll bring the cloud news and all this stuff together back in June. So we'll maybe here, maybe somewhere else, we'll see. But just like keep an eye out on our post. Again, LinkedIn, Discord. You'll see us there, and big thank you again for coming to our series. It was really appreciated. I actually hope like you actually learned something, and then you're able to go and get certified, even if it's just in January 2027. It's not a problem. The idea was to be able to bring you there on that journey, and if this is successful, we may repeat it with another certification, maybe more of a even entry-level one, or just like tackle a pro one, which is like another level of craziness. So. We'll see how it goes. But again, big thank you. Enjoy the. We still have a few minutes here before Florian kicks us out. And but yeah, big thank you again. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time. All right, thanks everyone.